This is the story of a man named Stanley.
So, Stanley Parable
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was
was popular about, I don't know, like 6 months ago when they said they questioned if there is actually a game in Stanley Parable. So, like, people said to play it, don't look at it before you play and figure out if you think it's a game. So that's what we're going to do.
How long to push them and in what order.
We're gonna figure out if this game is a game.
That sounds like
Can
a
you
really.
clarify?
That sounds really
Well, no,
appealing.
I have no way to clarify because all I've heard is play the game and then decide for yourself if you think it's a game. So that's about as much as I can clarify.
And Stanley was happy.
As opposed to what?
And then
A
one
movie?
day, something very peculiar
I-
happened.
I didn't
Something that would
investigate.
forever
I want to be
change
surprised.
Stanley.
We'll all be surprised. See
Something
what
he would
happens.
never quite forget.
Oh, I can't
He had
wait.
been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions.
I can't believe that
call
none
a
of us
meeting,
have
or
played
even
or
say
seen this game.
hi.
It's shocking.
Never in all his years at the company had this.
It's been out for a while,
this
and it's
complete
rather
isolation.
popular.
Something was very.
Is it?
clearly
I'll be
wrong.
honest.
I've-
Today is my first day even hearing about it.
I've
Stanley
seen
found
reference to
himself
it an
unable
awful
to
lot.
move for the longest time. But as he came to
Good.
his wits
I'm
and regained
pretty
his
sure I
senses,
bought it
he
when it
got
was
up from his
popular, but I just
desk
never got
and stepped
to
out of his office.
the point where I wanted to like have the experience, which is good because now I can have first time. Ooh.
All of
It
his
looks
co-workers
pretty
were
gamey to
gone.
me.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Find the meeting room.
It looks like there's been some sort of tussle here.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Don't do it. Go to the
Or
right.
did he?
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Yay, we won.
Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
The
No, always disobey.
okay, that's the rule we're going to set.
Stanley was so
I mean,
bad
may
at
as well.
following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Bastion did this too, where like the dialogue would be decided by what your actions were. Do not jump from the cargo lift while in motion.
Okay, there's your next.
Look, Stanley,
There's
I
your
think
next,
perhaps we've
goal.
gotten off on the wrong
What, rule to break?
Yeah, I mean, you die in every other game a whole bunch. Let's see it happen. Come on now.
I mean, you say you kill yourself to see what happens.
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do,
Awesome.
Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
This is awesome. Okay. I'll start from the
All of
beginning.
his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Oh wow, we need to
Stanley
survive.
Yeah,
decided
this
to
is
go to
gonna
the
get
meeting
old.
room. Perhaps he
All
had
right, we'll try
simply
to
missed a memo.
Let's
Follow
do what
all
they say.
rules without dying.
Yeah.
Well, no, like I say, disobey.
When
Well,
Stanley
let's go
came
left.
to a set of two open doors,
I say like disobey the rules, but don't try to not get yourself killed. We'll set that as a rule.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Nice.
On the other hand, though, it seems like the story is geared towards your following directions.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked
As far as
upstairs
your
to his
initial
boss's
objective.
office.
Right. I mean, we can follow the rules, see what
You
happens.
can do whatever you want.
I mean, we have 3 people, so we can vote on each.
That's not gonna happen.
Don't get too dedicated to what we're doing.
Seems like a waste of effort.
Yeah, that's true.
Stepping into
Like
his
what we're
manager's
doing actually
office,
matters.
Stanley was once again
Hey, wait a
stunned
minute.
to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him, and so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
So it was behind the desk.
Well, you couldn't have known it, so can't type it in if you're gonna follow the rules.
Wait a minute.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
Wow. Wow. I think we
Dyslexic
just
much?
learned. Yeah. So all those times dying in all those other games, it really was a mistake.
Let's hear how he blames the gameplay this time.
Yeah. It's not sticking by its rules. Said not to.
By sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Sweet.
This reminds me very much of Portal.
And Half-Life.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
I guess the Steam is their game engine too, right?
I have no idea.
I think it might be.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Ooh.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
You know, now I am beginning to wonder how far you could explore in the wrong direction.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Find out what I wonder where this all, like, if this is gonna end epically, or if it's just gonna stay dry the whole time and then say, oh, you're done. Buttons.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers.
Nice.
The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Yeah, I'll buy that.
No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Now, I do think if you have the option to use it,
Yeah.
Which one?
Well, you
would-
gotta turn it on.
Okay.
Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say...
I'd start running right now if I were you.
Now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your
Little
story
techno
now.
beat.
Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each
Oh,
one
no.
has. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start.
Oh man.
What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers
So I wonder if
A moment of solace
anytime
before
you
you're
break the
obliterated.
rules that it
All right, I'm
it
in a
leads
good
to
mood.
death.
You're gonna die
Like you have
anyway.
to follow
I'll
the
tell you
rules.
exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying
What's the
alone.
code?
Other times,
Code's
I
what?
let the
I
office
have
sink
some
into the
buttons here I can
ground,
push. I
swallowing
wonder if they mean
everyone
anything.
inside, or I let
Oh,
it burn to
0142.
I have to say,
It's written on the wall.
this version
Yeah.
of events has
No,
been
I'm
rather
saying
amusing.
like I knew where the
Watching you
code
try to
was, and
make
when I said
sense
what's
of
the code, I
everything
turned to
and
look
take
at it.
back the control wrested away from you. It's quite rich.
Where
I
is
almost hate
0?
to see it go.
I have a
But
feeling
I'm
you're
sure
done,
whatever
man.
I come up with on the next go around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why
Yay.
not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear
Where's
me, what's the
0?
matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now?
Yes,
Or
that's
did you
the
just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley?
Pretty
That this
clever.
video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge, it's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have
God, this
left
guy
to
is
struggle.
non-stop.
Yeah.
30 seconds until a big boom.
I'm trying not to talk over the narration, but
Yeah.
Just you being blown to pieces.
jeez.
Will you cling
Is the
desperately
0
to
button the one up on
or
that
will you let it
catwalk?
go peacefully? Another
No, I think that
chance.
was 4. Take a
Or
look.
don't. It's all the same to me. All a
Yes,
part
a
of
four.
the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from
Nice.
the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever up.
Huh.
So I guess the whole idea is you can do what he says or not, and then die. Well, that's what we've gotten so far.
Yeah, I don't know what I think yet.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided
So you're
to go to
saying
the
this
meeting
is
room. Perhaps he
not
was
a game
supposed to know.
because you don't actually have any free will, and the game tells you exactly what to do. That's the
Well,
impression I'm getting.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered
Oh,
the
no.
door on his left.
like when it comes to the whole like how do you define a game, I don't feel like there's a necessity to
Yet there was not a single person
Like,
here either.
put- like put it in any category. If that makes sense. Like I would say for me this is a game because I mean if you call those games that are on iPod or iPhones games, then this definitely qualifies as a game. Or the pick your fate games, like really when you pick your fate, they still like find a way to work it back to where.
Stepping into his manager's office,
Well, at this
Stanley was
point,
once
I feel
again
like it's
stunned to discover
pointless
not
to
an
even have that
indication of
conversation.
any human life.
Like the only
What
reason
could
we're
it
talking about it
mean?
is because you heard
Stanley
somebody ask the
wondered
question.
aloud to nobody.
Yeah, I
Right.
don't doubt that this is a game. I don't think that's.
Pulling books off the shelf,
I don't even
looking
understand
behind
who would start that.
paintings,
Were they
desperate
trying to
for
make a
clues to
games
his
as art
situation.
comparison?
But his attention was caught by a
No, it's
keypad
just like
behind
you
the
know
boss's
a
desk.
topic like
What could its purpose
is
be?
Stanley Parable a
In fact,
game?
this
Okay.
keypad
And they
guided
said
the
first go
terrible
play
secret
it and then
that
we'll
lay
have
I don't know,
the
is it
discussion.
like a
below
game?
his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret pin
Is it?
number.
What was that?
Is Quake a game?
2845.
What about
Why-
Quake 2? I mean,
Why,
I
sure.
don't understand the
By simply
question.
pushing random buttons
Yeah.
on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by a clear line.
The
Amazing. He
I mean the
stepped
argument
into
is
the
like
opened
what
passageway.
makes a game a game. Like there's like does it have to be competitive? Do you have to have a chance of losing?
Well, you certainly have a chance of losing. You've already entered the code and opened the door. I don't understand what you're waiting on. I mean, you could argue whether or not this is a good game.
Yeah.
I don't see it having a lot of lasting value. There's that. But it's certainly a game. Here you are playing it.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large
I mean,
door
is the
that read
question
Mind Control
who escaped?
Ooh,
Facility.
escape.
Oh, it's so titillating.
So tempting.
I want to see what happens when you do what you're
Yeah.
told.
You should have gone through there the first time.
Okay.
Yeah.
That big door marked escape.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold?
I don't know. I'm kind of
Stanley thought to
nervous
himself.
at the thought
Yet he had the
of
strength to find
breaking the
out.
rules now because I don't want to have to sit through the first however long of the game.
Right. I
anymore.
mean,
Yeah,
and that's not
true.
coincidence. Like that's
Now
the
the
point,
monitors
right?
jumped to
Like they
life.
punish you
Their
by
true
making
nature
you
revealed.
suffer through it again.
Each bore the number
Yeah, but
of
that
an
turns
employee
into they
of the
punish you
Stanley's
for
co-workers.
playing.
The lives of
Well, it
so
matches the
many
tone of the guy
reduced to images
narrating
on a
as well.
screen.
Sure.
Stanley
Yeah. Hey, there's something written down
eternally
on the floor
monitoring
next to
this
you.
place where freedom
See that?
meant nothing.
Urgent. Oh, the graphics are not good enough to read it. Well, shucks. Employees should never do anything.
How unfortunate that it's torn off.
So we're just gonna do everything he says. That's the plan, right?
This
I
mind
suppose.
control
Do whatever you want.
Yeah.
It was too horrible.
I mean,
to
you've made
believe
it
they
this
couldn't
far,
be true.
so
Had Stanley really been under
I
someone's
don't really know you get an
control all
option
this
to back
time?
out at this
Was this
point.
the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never.
I feel like
It was
this is some
unthinkable.
game
Wasn't it?
developer's resignation
Was it
letter or
impossible?
something.
Had he
Like,
truly spent his entire life
That
utterly
I quit
blind
dance
to the
videos that the girl
world?
did.
Right.
But here was
I mean,
the proof, the heart of
is
the operation.
Like let's make some
Controls
real
labeled
art
with
type stuff.
emotions.
Like be
Happy
cynical
or
about
sad
game players
or
as a game
content.
developer type thing.
Walking, eating, working.
No,
all
it's
of it monitored
saying,
and commanded from this
screw this, I
place.
quit,
And
is
as
what
the
it looks
cold
like.
reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never.
And what would happen if you turned it on? If you turned it on before he told you not to, then what?
I feel like that's what happened last time.
No, he told him not to. He said
Rising chill of
Stanley
uncertainty.
turned it off or something.
Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved.
Aww.
Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold?
It's
But
just
as
telling you
sunlight
directly to
streamed
play
into the
again.
chamber,
Yeah.
he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Or did he?
Yeah. No, don't turn back. Seriously.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
So
Okay, got it.
so there's a website that says how long does it take to beat a game, and then it said the average for this was about an hour. So like, I'm like, rather than that's how long it takes to beat the game, is how long it takes you to just be done with it. Like,
Yeah, I think that's average time the average
Yeah.
purchaser played it.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, God. I'm
yeah,
done.
how long it takes up carry. Can we make one more run so I can see what happens if we go to the escape?
Yeah, you may as well.
All
I'm
his co-workers were
digging
gone.
it.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had
I'll still
simply
take the
missed
left
memo.
and all that. But actually, let's take the right.
You know, the pinball way that you're jostling through those halls
When
is not a
Stanley
selling
came to
point
a
on that
set of two
controller.
open This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Sweet.
Wow.
That is nice.
Yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Let's do that.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
There are so
and got
many
back on
side
track.
paths here.
Right?
Oh,
Yet there
no,
was
you
not
don't
a
want to go
single
there.
person
Oh, I
here
guess you could
either.
escape.
Feeling a wave
Yeah.
of
I mean, we can
disbelief,
go.
Stanley
Nah,
decided
you
to
do
go
you
back
don't.
to
Wherever
his
you want.
boss's office, hoping
This is
he
not
might
how you get to
find
the
an answer
escape,
there.
though.
It is.
Isn't it?
No.
I thought it was.
Totally.
Coming to a
Do the
staircase,
secret
You have to
pass
go to
the
his
boss-
office.
Yeah, that's where he's
upstairs
headed.
to
Oh.
his boss's office.
Back on track. God, I feel like we should know the code by
moment he
now. I don't
entered his
remember it.
manager's
2845?
office, Stanley
Yeah, I hope
froze
so.
in his tracks. Not a living soul anywhere. Stanley was
So
in
smart.
such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some
Oh,
calming
wow.
music.
Nice.
It's funny, but at the same time,
Yeah.
it's extremely frustrating.
Yeah, yeah. Like I think it's awesome,
Feeling
but
soothed
unbearable.
and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly
Landed
walked
it.
forward into the opened passageway.
Yeah, it's like they just kept playing, and then every time someone would try something different, they saw something clever, and then
Right.
imagine if that was the ending to the game, like a Stanley Parable type ending. So like you get no satisfaction. Play a game for 40 hours, and then this is your ending.
Stanley walked
Pick your
straight
fate.
ahead through the large door that read Mind Control
I'm
Facility.
out of here.
Oh, run.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Okay.
Lies.
You know, I almost hope
The door
so.
behind
I
him
hope
was
the
locked
hall's
shut.
infinite.
Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
That doesn't look so bad.
I think maybe that's it. Maybe you're actually gonna die. Huh.
Oh, sweet.
Oh, it had a loading screen. Oh, he lied to you. Or did he?
Word into motion,
Oh, no.
Stanley was inched closer
Oh,
and
no.
closer to his demise. He
There's a
refused
catwalk
his
down
life
there.
had been of
I
no
can't move, I'm in
consequence
glass.
whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. So he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
I kind of love this game.
Farewell, Stanley, cried
Okay.
the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Psych.
What? What? Nice.
The Stanley
And
Parable.
yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly
Oh,
did the narrator
God, I
think he
hope
was
not.
going to accomplish?
This is
When every path
Hey, wow.
you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you
I
see
wonder.
that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
wow. I mean, the fact that I went here last and then they
What's
treated
that sign over there when you just walked by?
The 2 doors.
which of these?
No. The one that was right.
The,
right
the
next
one that
to
was
you.
dead center on the screen.
This sign.
Well, there's, yeah.
It was something like that. It was an equivalent sign elsewhere.
Okay. I don't know. Can you guys read that? Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, like this is the map.
Okay, I was just curious.
Like I went here last, and then like they treat it like you went here last, and like that's how you get the credits.
Well, anytime you get here is going to be the last time.
Well, no, I mean like if you took the exit first, like the first thing you did was take the exit,
Right.
then you wouldn't know. Like,
Oh, so you're saying if you hit this before you found the end of the game, then it would just kill you.
no, I
So
don't know
you're
what. I'm just saying it's interesting that I don't think it does, but this feels like a truer ending to the game,
Mm-hmm.
and it was the like I said, let's just kind of do this one more time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Let's find out. I don't necessarily know that this is over yet.
Outtakes.
Huh.
Just super.
It's like a creative way of doing credits, game credits.
Right.
So now you're gonna wander around, forcing yourself to read everything because you're looking for the Easter egg, which is really everything.
Oh,
And
oh. That looked like some paradise outside. Hey, wow, that clock showed the current time. That's not true either.
Yeah. It's this is.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game.
Do it.
As you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let time...
Aw.
Huh.
I would have done it.
Yeah. Huh.
Yep.
Now what happened? Is this a dramatic effect or?
I would assume it's dramatic effect.
Yeah. I don't know what to say about that. Like, I could see if I had a spare evening and just nothing to do.
Does this do anything for you considering you're a completionist?
Like me?
Yeah.
Well,
Would you feel obligated to take every twist and turn?
You know, how much money did this game cost?
Oh, it's got to be under $5 by
I can't remember if it
It's-
cost anything or if it was free. It's
Yeah,
been a while.
it's pretty old.
Okay, because if it cost money, yes, my ass would be down every path because, money paid for it.
It's an interesting philosophy.
Yeah. Free, I'm done. I think it's actually gonna make you quit the game though. Like, this is it.
Yeah, I just think it's really interesting that was like I said that was the last time I was going to do it, and it gave me my true ending. I know it's just coincidence, but like,
No, it sensed your thoughts.
Yeah.
oh,
I think you saw it. You saw the ripple in the code.
right.
Yeah.
You went for it.
Subconsciously. I don't
Yeah.
know. It just, I don't know. I think it's, for me, it felt clever, and even if like the guy takes the escape first and he doesn't, but like for every person who said the last time they're going to play is when they take the escape, and then it feels like an actual ending, then you actually like feel like it's clever. So it's,
It's like that whole thing where you tell somebody to shuffle a deck and then you'll guess what card is on top or something, and then every once in a while you get it right.
right. So then, yeah, exactly.
2% of the time.
Or if you cheat, you get it right every time.
Right.
So yeah, like I don't know.
So you think they crafted this entire experience on the chance that somebody would do what you just did.
Yeah, I think that's the
And in a sense, this game was made for you.
right. It's just I like it. Like I went through like the phases that it wanted you to go through, like hating it, and then like at the end, I'm like, oh, good for you.
It's a creative game.
Yeah, where you're like,
It
this
is a game.
dumb. What
Let's
kind of?
clarify that.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's the last we should ever say of that.
right.
Yeah,
It's not even worth the breath. But
yeah.
Right.
I am embarrassed that we acknowledge that was a discussion.
yeah.
No, I liked it.
It's creative. You could argue replayability.
Yes,
guess.
I think on the day of purchase, you know what I mean. Like if
Yeah.
the day you buy it, you play the living crap out of it, and yeah, replayability. But like, when are you gonna launch this game
Right.
again?
But yeah, you can't really call it replayability because the game itself is maybe 5 minutes long, and the other, hour or two is that quote replayability.
Yeah,
yeah. Well, yeah. She like referenced how you were just in an infinite loop, and like, are you ever dead or alive? Like, it doesn't make fun of itself, but it like basically
Right.
gives you the gist of the game.
You know what's interesting though is I've seen some stuff from this game, and none of the screenshots that I saw were anything that we just experienced.
Also, there's more.
Oh, I'm
Yo,
sure.
I mean,
if
there
you
is
take the
more,
right
but
door.
I'm just saying I've seen parts of this game which could have been considered spoilers, possibly. I mean, depending on how the events unfolded, but they weren't because we didn't even get there at all. So I think that's interesting. And I believe there are pieces of this game that I've heard referred to which we never saw. So, for example, do you know that? Remember in Inception how they did the never-ending staircase, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That thing there, it kind of happens in here somewhere. Spoiler.
Yeah.
They
Better fire it up again.
They do some stuff like that at some point in this game.
Yeah. Well, I thought that's how that hallway was going to be, where you just keep walking, and like they have like 30 minutes of dialogue recorded for it. So like you dedicate 30 minutes, and then you just get like it's a dead end, and you have to turn around. And you're like, oh no, well played. But no, the alternative was amazing. Like,
Yeah, I think every dead end they give you here will be, it'll wrap itself up, and some I think you can explore for far longer than others. Maybe.
Yeah.
I would say I feel like I'm in that position where it's like, don't watch this, just play play it yourself kind of thing. But
Nah, no. If it costs money, this is whatever. I'd pay $5, maybe,
yeah,
if I was lonely.
no, it was no, I like it. I I can't believe I'm saying it, but I'm like, oh, that's clever. Good for you.
Yeah.
I give it 10 stars out of 5. Maybe more if we have them.
I wish I knew how much it costs. Like, it's just been so long since I downloaded it, but yeah, if it's free, definitely give it a try.
Yeah. Sure. If you spent this much time watching this black screen, then you probably wouldn't consider it a waste of your time to play this game.
That is the truest statement of the day.